What if you don't need to live in pain and suffering? What if you could give up your karma and have a life of abundance and joy? What if you could start creating magic and miracles that you never thought were possible? Get ready to listen, share, and experience the magic that is you. Now, here's the host of Creating Abundance with Ease radio show, Dr. Helen Gitlevich.
Welcome, I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease, and today our show is Being Right is Overrated. And what if we stop proving that we are right? What if we actually gave that up? What if we don't have to be right or wrong? What if we can just be happy? Let us play with the tools of access consciousness and Akashic Records to create more joy in our lives. I am a medical doctor by education. I was born in Russia and came as a kid. If you're first time joining us and never seen me, I became Access Consciousness Facilitator and Akashic Record teacher a while back. I've been doing Akashic Records for over 25 years and over 10 years of Access Consciousness. I started a lot of things while I've been traditional doctor using still some alternative methods like nutrition to help patients. Didn't know I was using energy at that time, but a lot of times patients would say, oh, after you put your hand, the pain has disappeared. Later I found out, yeah, we all have those abilities. But being a doctor, it's actually an interesting thing because you have to be right. You have to make the right diagnosis. You have to make you have to give right treatment. Otherwise, patients dies a lot of times or sometimes. And if not, you will be sued, you will be prosecuted, etc., etc., etc. So it was almost like, not almost, it was a law for the doctors to be right. And it ingrained in education. We've been entrained to always be right and never make a mistake because it can cost patients' life. What did it do to people? I'm talking about the doctors. Well, maybe doctors are not people, but that's a story for another time. So stress was created, so much stress on a daily basis, because I was always afraid to make a mistake. And not even, I think part of it was not even because the life can be lost, because 90% of patients would not die if I make a mistake. But there was that nagging thing, if I make a mistake, I will be sued, it will cost me a lot of money. It's weird. For me, life was more important. And yet, in the back of my mind, there was that thought. So, how much of being right is in our society is something that we have to be right. You cannot be wrong. And yet, we already judged ourselves that we are wrong, no matter what we do, or other people judge us that we are wrong, even if we are right. So what is that? Well, let me tell you a little secret. It's all points of view. It depends how people look at things. From their point of view, they're right. From our point of view, we are right. And yet the third person will be right because he will be looking from a different point of view. And the fourth will be right because they're different point of view. But what if we actually step away from that? What if we stop judging ourselves of being right and wrong and stop proving our rightness? What would that create in our lives? Let's just close our eyes for a second and get into that space when you decided that you're absolutely right and people were telling you you're wrong and you were proving you're right and they were proving that you're wrong and they were proving that they are right. Oof, not a pleasant thing, right? The pun is actually intended. So look at that. Look at that energy. And for next 10 seconds, give it up and just think that you were wrong. Just 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now go back to that energy of proving you are right and knowing you're right. And it doesn't matter what the point of view is, how important that is, how life-threatening or not life-threatening the situation is. Yeah. Now go to the point of view that, okay, so I might be wrong. Cool. How much lighter that is. How much more expanding that energy is of not being right, not kind of like, actually like, okay, so I could be wrong. I could be right. That could be anything. So what if in our lives we choose that space? What if that was the space of allowance, not only for us, but for others? Okay. I know what you would say. You have a lot of allowance for other people. Yeah, you're right. Oops. Are you trying to prove you're right again? Probably. So let's practice together. I'm wrong. You're right. I'm wrong. You're right. I'm wrong. You're right. How does it make you feel? How does your body feel with that? Feel lighter. By the way, if you don't know anything about Access Consciousness, it's been created by Gary Douglas and Dr. Dan Hare, and you can find out more on accessconsciousness.com. But we have an amazing tool in Access Consciousness. It's called Light and Heavy. Anything that's true will feel light or expanding or just like, and everything that's a lie will feel heavy and contracting. So just try to say, I'm right. I'm right. I'm right. Not very light, is it? How about I'm wrong? I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Also not very light, right? Because both of them are total lies. Total lies. Right and wrong, nothing more than lies we tell ourselves, we buy from others, we tell others. All of it is judgments. Good, bad, moral, immoral, it's all judgments. It's based on the culture, based on the country. Like, look at the wars, any wars. The one that's going on right now between Ukraine and Russia. The Russia feels they are right and Ukraine feels they are right. And the Ukraine feels being wronged. The Russia feels being wronged by Ukraine because they're not giving them proportion of the lands. Whatever points of view are, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's all judgments, either of the governments, of people, and people are suffering because of that. Because some, okay, blip, 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 blip. decided that he is right and went to war. And it doesn't matter which war we take. World War II, World War I, almost World War III, kind of like who knows what will happen. I remember when I went to Ukraine, I was supposed to facilitate classes right around when the war started. I was actually there on 24th of February when the first bombs were hitting Kiev, or actually Ukraine. And I thought it was a thunder, but that's the story for another time. Somebody sent me a text. It's like, do you want to be in the front row for the World War III? And I laughed. I didn't believe that is possible in our time, that proving being right is still a thing to create a war. Ooh. So how much are we still in that? There is so much energy. I'm going to use another tool of access consciousness, and you can look it up on clearingstatement.com on the website. Huge explanation, but for now, it's just a vibrational frequency, just to allow yourself to let go of all the lies that you pick up. So all the lies that you've created, bought, that's still sticking you, will you now allow yourself to destroy and uncreate that? I assume you said yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine, shorts, boys, povats, and beyonds. It has a meaning. It's a short speak for a lot of energies. And it's actually one of those things that will get you out of right and wrong, good and bad. Because the polarity is what keeps you stuck in the problems. Because in reality, problem would not be a problem if we didn't decide it was a problem. And with that, I'm going to leave you for the commercial break. You've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on Inspired Choices Network. And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease on Inspired Choices Network. And today our show topic is Being Right is Overrated. And we left kind of like in a way that it's about polarity. And polarity is what lets you keep your problems. And we talked a lot about the clearing statement, and you can listen if you're just joining us. You can listen in the recording. It will be up on over 750 different platforms of audio and some 150 video platform, including Binge TV. And you can also ask me any questions when either as a live studio audience on a Zoom, in the chat room, Apple TV, Google TV, all those things still has our recordings. And what if there is no problems? What if there are no problems unless we decided they are problems? Interestingly enough, right now I'm going through some interesting medical stuff, and I already decided that it is a problem before I even got diagnosed or being diagnosed. And yet I caught myself. I'm like, wait, this is a definition. This is what creates the problem in the first place. What if we don't define anything? And this morning I was reading reference material from Access Consciousness, because Access Consciousness has been around over 30 years. And of course, the manuals cannot hold over 7,000 pages of whatever was created over those 30 years. And so those 7,000 pages went into archive, which is called reference material. And you can purchase it and so on and so forth. But what it is, it was talking about that when we start defining things, that's what confines us. And right and wrong, like disease is wrong, health is good. What if neither is right, neither is good? What if it's just experiences we have on this amazing planet? What, like right now, I'm looking outside my window and I'm watching kids playing soccer. And there are trees there, there is a field, and there is a shadow, like there is a light, clouds, shadow. And some people would say, oh, shadow is good because you can stay in the shade. But some people say, no, shadow is darkness. So you have to avoid shadow. Shadow is evil. Shade is good, but shadow is evil. The tree makes the shade with the shadow. Yeah, I got you confused. I'm glad. I love it. The idea is if we step away from the definitions, you know how they, like in a zoo, they say, step away from the dangerous animals. Don't put your hands through the wires, all of that. So what if we stepped away from the definitions? What would that create? Because right and wrong is still a definition. Good and bad is still a definition. It's still a judgment. Close your eyes again. Or if you can, just stay with me. And just look at one particular thing in your life. Doesn't have to be anything specific. I'm going just to look at kids playing soccer right now. And some people will say, oh, that's wonderful. It's right that they're playing soccer. Well, mom and me would say, oh, but they're playing out on the sun. They can get a heat stroke. That's wrong to play right now. See, two different points of view of the same thing. Both are definition, both are judgments. Kids are choosing to play there. They're having fun. I can see them having fun. That's a third point of view. Everything is just a point of view. What if we let go and just enjoy the view? I'm just using it as examples of how we go through life, judging constantly what is right, what is good, what is bad, what is wrong. And to be honest with you, what it does create, nothing more than stress. Because you're trying to be good while already comparing yourself to the echelon of what's right. You're avoiding being wrong. Again, comparing to somebody else's judgment of what's wrong. Again, based on the culture, certain things are good, certain things are bad. And I'll give you like so many examples of how opposite those judgments are in different cultures. You'll say it's impossible. Yeah. Take, for example, black cat. If a black cat crosses the road in front of you, is it good or bad? Well, if you're in England, it's wonderful. It's a good luck. If you're in Russia, oh my God, I have to walk around, make sure that I don't cross that path because I think that's a bad luck for 7 years. See, same thing. Different opinions, different points of view. One is right, one is wrong, one is bad, one is good. And the poor cat, who said that the black cat is evil versus the white cat is good? Nobody says when the white cat crosses your road, it's a good luck. It's only about the black cat. Why is that? I don't like usually asking the questions why, but I'm being facetious here. I'm just like bringing up that nothing is right, nothing is wrong. Being right is totally overrated. And let's look at so many things, and especially in our lives. How many relationships got destroyed, literally destroyed, by one or both trying to being right and proving that and creating conflict? People talk about compromise. What is compromise? It's one person agreeing with another. It's not allowance, it's not acceptance, it's totally not having intimacy with each other. Compromise is just like, oh, I'm right, you're wrong, so accept it. What if we don't have to compromise? What if we can just be in communion with each other and allow the other person have their point of view, and for us to have our point of view, and neither have to change it, neither have to agree or disagree. We just be together and play together, not making anything a problem. How much of those agreements or disagreements created fighting grounds for a lot of things? Talked about wars in the first part. Relationships. There are wars in a relationship. There might not be as, well, actually, they might be even more devastating to the couple than even outside wars. What if it's about creating a different reality for all of us by being an allowance of each other's points of view? And yet, it's about what works for us. What if it's something that will create greater for both if each will choose for both? Because there is a difference. We can choose for ourselves and only ourselves, being the egotistical versus, and I'm not talking about selfish, I'm talking about egotistical. There's a little difference, and I'm not going to go into that. I'm not even sure what the difference is. Yet, instead, choosing what works for both. There is a difference between compromise and creating something that works for both. There is a difference between doing something for the other person and with another person. You would say, oh, this is just semantics, this is just words. But look at the energy of two. When we are playing with another person, we are actually being together, versus when we are doing something or even playing for the other, doing for another person. This is a different energy. We are actually becoming superior, deciding that we know what's best for the person, and we have a point of view that we are right of choosing that. Who said that? If the other person asked for it, fine. But a lot of times they don't even ask for it. They looked at you, it's like, I didn't ask for it. You just did it. That's when we are being right. And how much of that creates a friction, creates something that separates us from each other. And we'll talk more about separation in the next part. And it's time for our second break of the show. You've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on Inspired Choices Network. And we will be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Magic and abundance are everywhere. What if you could tap into abundance and start creating your life with complete and total ease? Working with Dr. Helen Gitlevich will give you exactly that, total ease in creating abundance in your life. Dr. Gitlevich creates classes all over the world, both in person and online. She works with you to create abundance with your money, with your body, with your relationships, with all areas of your life with total ease. Connect with Dr. Helen Gitlevich at creatingabundancewithease.com. Her contribution in your world will be a noticeable gift in a very short period of time.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease on Inspired Choices Network. And today our show topic is Being Right is Overrated. And we actually in the first two parts talked about how being right is just a point of view. And in the second part, that compromise don't work and it just separates us. We started on the topic of separation on the issue of being right. And just to mention that if you have any questions about this show, any other show, you can always contact me or anything, because I facilitate classes around the world and I do private sessions with clients around the world, online and live. If I'm in that area, or I do live in Chicago area, so it's easier to have live session here, but online still works pretty well. And I do them in Akashic Records and Access Consciousness, or both, combining the technology or anything that's required, because I've done a lot. And you can find out more on creatingabundancewithease.com or accessconsciousness.com/Helen_Gitlevich. So there is a lot of different ways of contacting me through Facebook, Instagram, even YouTube channel. I think you can message me through Google, email. So there is many ways of get in touch or connect with me. And again, not sounding being right. Just allow yourself to just be without the definition of right and wrong. So what if you don't have to separate from people? What if you don't have to separate from people who even judge you? And that doesn't mean, there is like a difference. I just want to kind of clarify things, because people think if in order to separate or not separate, it means physical separation or physical not separation. So if you physically, like if somebody is judging you, you have to not see them, not talk to them, and emotionally totally separate. What if it's not true? What if you can just allow yourself to be in the energy of allowance? Okay, so they judge you, they make you wrong, but you don't have to take it on. And you don't have to see them, by the way. That's not a requirement for not separating. You don't have to talk to them for not separating. It's more energetic. It's more about kind of like, oh, I will never see them again. No, that's a separation. Okay, I will just be me. I will just take care of me. That's not separation. That's just being you, just allowing you to be in that space. And that's, again, not about being right. It's about being. What if it's about just choosing what works for you? There was an amazing call that Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, Dane Here, co-founder, and Shannon Ahir did about being a bitch. And there was such a difference of definitions, how the world looks at that, because bitch is actually about protecting the young, protecting herself. It's not about doing evil or being right. It's about choosing what works for her and her family. How much have we decided that's wrong? And when we are in that space, We judge ourselves a lot of times. So, what if we gave up that judgment? What if we actually allow ourselves that energy of protection of ourselves and people around us, close to us, and not shy away from being a bitch? And I'm not talking about just females, I'm talking about males, because that's the energy of somebody who will do anything to protect. And Gary recommended an amazing movie, I just watched, and I just blanked out. I just had it in my mind and it blanked out. Oh, Voyager. I think it's Forever Voyager or something like that. It's an old movie, which kind of like showed that no matter what our childhood was, because the main character was pretty much abused and gaslighted all her life by her mother, at a certain point, she chose not to separate from her, but not to take the abuse. It was more about being who she is instead of being a doormat, and yet not separating. So, what if we actually, oh, I just got something. You have no idea who you are, most of you, because we're so entrained to being like everybody else. We are so entrained to doing and being for other people that a lot of times we don't even know, we don't even show up as us. We just, that image that other people want us to be, would you give that up? And if you didn't hear the first part, I was talking about clearing statement, you can listen to that. But would you give that up? Being like everybody else, being image that other people expect us to be, would you destroy that? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, povats, and beyonds. And as I said, you can find out more on the clearingstatement.com, but this is just a vibrational frequency that clears the lies, because it's a lie that we don't know who we are. It's a total lie that we've been telling ourselves. I remember when I got divorced, I truly didn't know who I was. But again, that was a lie because there were layers of lies of the images that I took on. So what if you give up those images? What if you let go of everything that makes it not you? Just everything that you've created to please other people or to avoid other people or to push other people's buttons. That's another way of creating ourselves. Would you now destroy and uncreate that? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, povats, and beyonds. Normally, I don't use clearing statement because it's kind of like more for the classes, not for the podcast. But apparently today it was a requirement or necessity or whatever it is. And again, it's not right or wrong, use or not use the clearing statement. It's just, I like my classes. I like to play in the space of the classes as well. And by the way, if you're curious, there are a lot of bars, like Access Consciousness has bars classes, foundation, body class. And I'm facilitating 3-day body class coming up on the 24th of September. So you're welcome to join me in a couple of weeks if you took bars and foundation, because this is more advanced class for people who already took a couple of classes before. And if not, contact me privately, and we'll talk about either I refer you to other people or there might be a class coming up with bars and foundation before body class. And so how much are you not willing to be you? by proving that you're right. Wow. Whew. What would make you stop? What would actually allow you to give up your rightness? What would you choose if you knew that it would create more ease if you gave it up? Well, years ago, when somebody asked me if I want to be right or if I want to be happy, I kind of answered, I want to be both. Well, both kind of like you cannot have judgments and be happy. That's actually a total dissonance. When you have a judgment, you cannot be happy. Because the judgment will take you out of joy. I wouldn't say happy, but joyful. Because joyful is a space of allowance. Joyful is when you don't have any points of view and you just be. Like the cloud floating around and just be. That's what joy is usually about. Doesn't mean that we don't work or we don't do. This is more energetic, internal, not so much composition, but internal space. And any judgment will take you out of it. Being right is a judgment, and being right about anything is a judgment about anything. So with that, it's not allowing you to be spacious, because any judgment is a contraction. In order to create a judgment, you have to contract to the size of whatever is going on. And usually it's tiny. And this is time for our third and final break of the show. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on Creating Abundance with Ease on Inspired Choices Network. We will be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease on Inspired Choices Network. And today our show topic is Being Right is Overrated. And we talked a lot in the first three parts of the show. If you're just joining us, you can always listen to the recordings pretty much everywhere on every podcast station on 750 major ones, including iTunes, Spotify, and as far as TV shows, it's Apple and Google TV. So there is a lot of places where you can listen. And it's not right or wrong to listen to the recordings or live shows. It's not right or wrong to choose whatever you choose. It's about choice. When we are looking for the right choice, good choice, correct choice, we're not choosing. It's actually opposite. We're deciding. And those decisions, usually the judgments, that keeps us from true choice. And just to remind you that this is not the last show. Next week, same time, same place, we'll talk more. And the next week topic, it's same 11 o'clock, Wednesdays, Central Standard Time, 12 o'clock Eastern, and 9 o'clock Pacific. And your time in the world, you can just adjust. Next week's show will be, can you create beyond this is? And it's spelled, if you're just listening, this is meaning not is. This is. Because that's what this is. It's not ease in the body. And we'll talk more about that and what can we create beyond that. Also, just a quick reminder about Body Class coming up in Chicago area in Buffalo Grove. That's going to be on the 24th. Any other classes, you can always contact me or look on website, or if it's not up, just contact me and ask me if it's coming up maybe in a few months that's not up yet. Or maybe you would like something and we can create it. In your area or in Chicago area, probably for the next few months, I will be creating more in the Chicago area. So let's play together with being right. Nah. With being wrong? Nah. We'll be just playing and choosing and having fun, because that's what purpose of life is. I remember when I just started at Akashic Records over 25 years ago, first time when I went into the records, and I actually asked for myself first time, what's the purpose of my life is? And I got, to have fun. And I'm like, what? Yeah, to be happy. Okay. I didn't believe that at first. And it's like, how can it be possible? Because everything in our reality tells us that we have to have a purpose. We have to have a goal. And by the way, goal is nothing more than just a cage in a jail. So what if there is no purpose to being alive? What if it's to be alive is actually the purpose of it is living to the fullest? And to the fullest again probably is another point of view and a judgment. What if it's just about living and being space and just allowing ourselves to choose based on choice and not judging our choices, even when those choices create something disastrous in our judgment or in judgment of others? What if there is no right and wrong? What if there is no good or bad? What if this is not right or wrong or good or bad? What if it's just something that we're creating to experience the physical limitations, to overcome it, and it's just a learning process, and eventually it will show us what we don't desire? Because a lot of times we have no idea what we desire unless we experience something that we don't desire. We choose something and it's like, oops, that's not what I desire. Okay, let's choose something else. That's how choice works. Choice creates awareness. Awareness does not create choice, according to Gary Douglas, founder of Access. I'll say it again. His quote, choice creates awareness. Awareness does not create choice. And saying that, a lot of times when we choose and judge ourselves, that's not choice. We choose, get awareness, good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. Don't judge it as good, bad, or ugly. Just allow yourself, oh, okay, that doesn't work. Let's choose again. Oh, that works for now, maybe not in 5 minutes. Okay, I'll choose again. What if choice is good only for 10 seconds? And by the way, you can repeat the same choice if it works. And you don't have to sit with the clock. Or in the beginning, you might. I remember doing an exercise, and I would encourage you to play with that. 10 seconds is an instrument of access consciousness. It's actually one of the keys to freedom. There is a wonderful book by Gary Douglas, 10 Keys to Freedom. And it's one of those keys, living life in 10 seconds increment. If you have 10 seconds to live your life, what would you choose? And just play with that tool. Just allow yourself to choose in 10 seconds, maybe like a minute, maybe 10 minutes. Maybe go outside and choose a movement that you will do, or inside, choose a movement for 10 seconds and then choose something else. We're not used to choosing. And that might be one of the shows I'll do again. I actually did a lot of shows on choice. You can look in archives of the podcast. There is over 100 or 150 episodes that I've done so far. And just listen to the ones about choice. Because choice is what will create. Choice will create your life and living. Choice will create joy. Choice can create beyond this reality. And it definitely will create beyond right and wrong. We're not used to that. Usually we're given a couple of choices. Do you want vanilla? Do you want chocolate? No, I want strawberry. They don't have strawberry. I want strawberry. No, choose vanilla or chocolate. You can have mixed, but no. So that's been our experience as kids. And we are translating it into relationships. We're translating it to creating money. We're creating with just limited choices, which is nothing more than judgments and limitations. Because if you have the judgments of what's right and wrong, you don't have infinite choices. If you have a judgment of what's good and bad, you do not have infinite choices. You're limiting your choices. You're limiting, and you say, but I don't want to be bad. Well, what's bad? When the child who doesn't want to do something that the parent tells them, what do the parents say? Oh, you're a bad child. That's not true. But the child embodies it and translates into his life as, oh, I am a bad person. So would you let go of everything you picked up as a kid, that you're a bad child, bad person, bad everything, based on somebody else's judgments of what's good and bad? Thank you, right and wrong, good and bad, puck and putt, all 9 shorts, boys, perverts, and beyonds. Because all of those are lies. Being right, being wrong, being good, being bad. A lot of it is just a judgment, not even ours. There is only a few, or actually less than a minute left in the show. So I'm just going to say bye-bye. And just reminding you to kind of like use the tools. Listen to the show again if you didn't, or listen to some other shows that might or not answer some of your questions, or contact me. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Creating Abundance with Ease radio show. Dr. Helen Gitlevich will return next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have fun using the tools of the week in your life and start creating magic in your life and your body.